All right. Hi, everybody. My name's Andrea Hawkes, and I want to introduce Veronica Moya, the owner of Wedding Packages NYC. I'm her assistant, and I wanted to interview you today, talk a little bit about your business, about the wedding business actually in New York City, and what's been going on. I think that's the burning question right now is, can I still get married in New York City? So we'll
Right.
get to that. But first of all, I'd like to just have you talk to everybody and let them know about how you got into business and what you're seeing for the business.
Okay. Well, thank you, Andrea. How I got in the business? I got in the business about 12 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
When I first got married with my first husband, we had to get a wedding officiant, and that's how I learned that that was a thing. I'm from Argentina originally, so back home, there's no wedding officiants. You either go to the city clerk's office, to City Hall, you get married.
Wow.
Civil, el casamiento civil. And
Okay.
then if you want, if you're a religious person, then you can have your wedding at a church as well. And those are two different things. If you get married in the church back home, it's not
Right.
valid, it's not a legal marriage, right? You
Right.
always need to go to the city clerk's office, to the registro civil, to get married. So over here, obviously it's different. Over here, I learned that you can still go to City Hall and get married there, but I consider that to be sad, depressing, and just kind of lame.
Right. I mean, it's your wedding after all. It's a celebration
I
of
won't
love.
go there. And especially here, I mean, I've seen it now. They redid the city clerks, the city hall. But at the time, this was like back in 2006 when I first got married. And
Right.
and yeah, it was the same place as the courthouse. It was not pretty. It's not a pretty environment. It was not a pretty building. Anyway, so I went online. Thank God internet existed, and I found all these people who were legal wedding officiants, and I thought,
Right.
oh, what a neat idea. I can do that. So I looked into that. I got licensed, and I started working, and then it grew, obviously. When it happened very organically. I started getting a lot of couples wanted to do what I did, which is a very small wedding, very simple, in their home,
Right.
in their
Right.
backyard, maybe in the park. Not go to city clerks, not go to city hall because of what I just said. It's
Yeah, I actually went here in Queens with my sister.
Right. I'm
And
sorry.
I'm actually licensed in New York City, in New York State, also to get to officiate weddings. I mean, my sister and her husband got married last year, and we went to the Queens clerk's office, and it was depressing. And there must have been like 30 couples just waiting to go in for 2 minutes when they could have something just as nice somewhere else,
Not just
small.
nice, a lot better.
Right.
Anything that you do anywhere else will be better. Even with the worst officiant, and there are some bad officiants there, that's not the theme for today. We can talk about that another day. But there's a lot of people that just getting certified and getting licensed is super easy. So in theory, anybody can do it. You don't even have to be a citizen. I have a friend from France. She's a legal.
Also a wedding officiant.
Yeah, she's a wedding officiant for New York. So that's easy to get licensed. But then, the job, the work itself is about many other things, not just being able to legally sign a license. It's
I agree.
experience,
Right.
Anyway.
Right. And I think that's what's nice about your business as you grew it. You start to realize that people do want this celebration. They do want the flowers. They do want the music.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
they still don't want to go big, and we know here in New York, things cost money.
Yes.
So.
Yes. As soon as you say wedding, it costs a lot of money, and I understand that, and it's okay. It's there's a good reason for it. I understand why you have to charge, and that's a very long subject. I don't want to get into it, but I'm happy to next time.
Yeah.
About everything that goes into a wedding, and also why, because even when I always tell my couples, when you book a restaurant, if you tell them it's a wedding, they're going to charge you extra. And
Right.
everybody's like, why is extra? Yeah, there's extra because they know that if you're having a wedding, that you're going to spend a lot more time there. You're going to linger. You're going to sit around. And you
Yes.
take, you know, I mean, a restaurant makes money as they turn the table. So even if you have a small group of 8 or 10 people, just knowing that it is a wedding, there's going to be a toast, there's going to be some, you know,
Yes, a lot goes into it. There's a lot of care, and
Right.
but that's the same thinking that you put into your packages. Is though you know, it's like you say, just because it's small and intimate doesn't mean that it's cheap and easy.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
if it's cheap, well, here's what I learned. If the price is too good to be true, then
it probably is too
is.
good to
Yeah.
be true.
Because
Right.
you just can't get around. So when I first started, as you know, but I'll tell everybody, again, everything really happened organically. I started very small and very
Right.
slowly. So in the beginning, I used to have this man called Pedro Avedrano. He used to be my photographer. Like he was really a very nice guy, very good. And I think he probably charged like maybe $200 an hour for the photos. And then I used to make the, you know, for the wedding bouquets, I used to I live really close to the flower district. So I used to go get the flowers and make them myself. And so as you can imagine, my first packages were very, very low cost, very cheap in every
Yeah.
sense of the word.
But done with a lot of love, I'm sure.
Yeah. I had the best of intentions, but
Right.
I am not a designer, of a floral designer.
Right.
And this man who charged $200, who was a sweetheart, I mean, I don't think I have his pictures now, but if I were, I have others that I had later on. If you compare, that's funny. You know what? Every now and then I get someone who wants to pay less for their photos. And we charge now $650 for 1 hour of photos.
Right.
And people think that's too much. And I said, well, okay. I said, look, we have another person and it could be 400 for the hour. Oh, what's the difference? He says. So I sent him the pictures. I said, here's a gallery from the 650, and this is a gallery from the photographer that charged you 400.
Right.
You pick this.
Well, and then what people seem to forget nowadays is now that everything's digital, it may be 650, but you have the rights to those photos. You can print them a million times if you want.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Whereas before it's like, and even some photographers now, they'll only give you so many shots.
I know.
And so you really, you know, 650 may sound like a lot to people, but at the end of the day, for what they're getting, it's amazing.
If you don't get divorced, you will be looking at these photos 30 years from now.
True.
You cannot go cheap on the photographer. And again, it is $650 for 1 hour, and then that's another reaction that I get. Oh, just 1 hour is not enough. Actually, it is. Anything after the hour, where are you going to take pictures of you eating the cake or your whatever? All you need is 5 really good shots to put on the wall. And, you know, if you want to make an album, maybe more than 5 good shots. A few, I'll say 20, 25. I don't know if we never did an album, if you can believe it. But
I never did either. I had a stack of photos and I would look at them once in a blue moon, but I never put them in an album. So I don't know. And now with digital, you can look through a gallery pretty quickly.
And truthfully, for the group photos and the family photos, I mean, I don't know what's the art in that. Anybody can do that, right? I think.
Right.
But then the ones that you're going to put on the wall, and it's the 2 of you.
You want those good
like
quality.
In my walls, the ones that I picked for myself, they're all candid. And that speaks of the proficiency of the artist, the photographer.
Right, to capture that moment.
They're amazing. And we had like the rose petals cascading and we're kissing. It's like perfect. It's like from a movie. Both of them. And the other one also, I'm having an expression. I wasn't posing.
It wasn't posed. Right. And they were able to capture that.
And when you hire a photographer without knowing, you don't know their expertise. You don't know what, we've seen, Andrea, you and I, we vetted so many people. I'm not going to name names, but the last photographer that we hired, he was spectacular. His photos look so amazing in his website, remember? And he charged $800 an hour, remember? I'm
I
not
do.
mistaken. And then he came to shoot for us because this, what we do is very different. This is go, 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 go.
Right. And very candid and very candid.
And 5 weddings. He doesn't have 8 hours and 2 helpers there to try to find that one shot after 600 shots, right? That's not how it works. So I work with top notch, like really, I mean, really proficient. And
so from Pablo,
the photographer blows them out of the water. We were shocked. I was shocked. That guy, and then there was another guy. There was a Russian guy. It was so funny because Marta is our stellar, my favorite.
Our top-notch photographer. She's amazing.
And so one time we did a wedding at 620 Lofton Garden, and the couple had hired their own team of photographer and videographer, I think. Anyway, so it was this Russian guys, and they were very aggressive and very, they look the part. They look
right.
And they were like, and the guy was like very, he was pushing everyone aside. He wasn't letting Marta really do her job because, they wanted to shine. There was like a bit of a competition. But I like him. I like how, I like his attitude. I like his
style, his energy.
His style that he would go for it, right?
Right.
So I'm like, all right, I'll give it a try. And I hired him to do one of our weddings. And Marta's like, well, I'm curious to see his photos because he was so,
Right.
And then we saw his photos.
No.
And we were all like looking at each other like, seriously? I was like, wow. And Marta's looking at me. I was like, I thought he would be like spectacular. I'm like, this is below average.
Well, I think that's what's neat about, like I said, it's been going on 12 years now that you started the company, and over time you have managed to put an incredible team together, not only of photographers, right? You vetted so many. Now you've got a really good solid team that you can count on.
Vetting. You know me.
Yeah.
I fire people left and right. So
right. And you only hire the best. And same with your wedding officiants. You want your couples to be dazzled by you want the emotion to come out when you get an officiant to perform their ceremony, because this is something that they're going to remember forever. So you want to make sure that you've got the right people. And so, you've come a long way. The team that you've got now is pretty strong, get great reviews. So that's good news. But now we know that 2020 has been really crazy. And one of the biggest things that people are calling us and asking us about is, are we doing ceremonies during COVID? So I was hoping we could talk about that a little bit, because I'm in Queens, you're in the heart of New York City, right by Columbus Circle. That's just a hop, skip, and a jump from Central Park, which is where we do a lot of our wedding ceremonies. And so you really know, you've got a pulse on what's going on in the city. So I'd like you to talk about that a little bit to our couples that are considering coming here and wanting to tie the knot.
Yeah, so we're working, and we work all the time throughout COVID. We didn't stop. I never stopped, even in March and April when it was at its peak. We were still doing weddings.
You did a few drive-through weddings too,
exactly,
in front of your building.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, it's entirely up to the couple. If the couple is up for it, so I remember the first package that we had, this couple that had a package for, was it May or June, I think. It was still chilly, maybe June, but it was, anyway, or May. Can't remember, it was early.
Right.
It was the 2 of them, and they wanted to still get married in Central Park, and no problem. So we did it. Brad was the officiant. He stood like 10 feet away from them, so he didn't have to wear a mask. So no mask for the photos.
Right.
And the photographer had a mask, and the violin player had a mask. And well, you know me, I'm very
loose. You didn't have a mask. but you keep your distance. You're there to make sure it all goes.
Do whatever the couple wants us to do, and but I'll be honest, all through the summer I've been hugging people. I can't help it. because it's their wedding, and I feel so bad. So we've done a lot of weddings during the summer, and lots of weddings, because apparently my colleagues, some of them were not doing them in person at all, even outside, only online. And we don't believe in that. We, luckily for me, my entire team is game. So I have, like I said, my photographer Marta, she lives across the street from the park as well. I do too, I'm half a block. The violin player Anna also lives here on 63rd Street.
Nice.
Tracy also lives here, the wedding planner and the coordinator. Who else? We're all right here, so we have no excuse not to. We don't have to commute. None of us have to commute.
Nobody's on the subway. Right.
So there's no issues. And because back in the day when this first started, some of my colleagues would see my postings on Instagram and they asked me, "Oh, what do you mean you're doing weddings? Were you considered an essential?" Yeah. I said, no, I wasn't. I mean, I don't know. I didn't ask. People are in the park. Everybody's jogging in the park and walking their dogs. So if you walk your dog, you can get married. It's common sense.
Well, and not only that, I mean, when the shutdown happened in what, I guess it was middle of March, and all of a sudden they closed the city clerk's office and people realized I can't even go get a license if I want to get married. Then we were really fortunate that the governor said, hey, we're going to me, by the governor stepping in and saying, yes, you can do this.
Right.
You can get your license. To me, sounds like it's essential. Like love goes on, And so I thought that was good because for whatever, people have their reasons why they don't want to wait. And I think when they were in this moment of COVID, I don't know, it kind of felt like end of the world. All of a sudden, people were coming out in droves wanting to get married. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I know.
Like a panic. Like, oh my God, what if I can't do it ever?
Before end of the world comes. But no, so we've been doing them and we're still doing them. And I know for some people who are out. So actually this Saturday, we're doing a wedding that was originally scheduled to happen on the 20th of December. But because of all this talk, all this frenzy of like, they might shut it down again. And they're from Virginia, they're coming from Virginia. So he's like, he called me on Monday this week and he's like, hey, Veronica, can we move it to Saturday? Can we get married Saturday? I was like, yes. Brad is game. Again, the photographer is game. The flowers, everybody is happy to see. So we're going to do it this Saturday, and they're coming from Virginia. And again, a lot of questions about the quarantine. I don't know.
Right. And now, I mean, we don't get into the specifics of that. Everybody's on the honor system to do what they feel they need to do. But they just made a change to the quarantine situation. Before it was quarantining 14 days. And the reality is that people don't come to New York for 14 days. So now they're doing it right. I think you heard too, where they can come, you can fly in. You do have to fill out a form at the airport as to where you're staying. But if you've taken a test prior to your flight.
Okay, so I just came back. Came back. I went to Florida for a week. I came back, and my husband is a goody two-shoes. As we already established, I don't care about anything, but he does. So first we got tested before we left. It was negative. So we got tested on Saturday. We flew out on Sunday. When we arrived here on Sunday, they give you a form to fill out. Right. But again, it's the honor code.
They do say that if you don't fill it out, there's a possible $10,000 fine. But how do they?
No, you have to fill it out because they're like a chip.
They are there. Okay. So at the airport, they do insist that you fill it out.
Yeah, one lady will, but you can write Joe Doe, and I live in the Empire State Building, and they will, you can do that. Nobody checks because they're just piling the papers there. It's just silliness, I think.
Bureaucracy.
Yes, it's just, so there's a lady outside. When you come out, they give you the form. And then another guy standing there, and you just put the form, fill out there. Nobody checks it.
Okay.
And I heard that you can do a form online
Oh
because
yeah, I saw it. I did. It's on the city website, so you can
because
fill it
the
out.
two people were just coming and said, I already filled it out online. And she's like, oh, but you're supposed to have it show me. He kept walking. And
Uh,
nobody stopped him. Nobody says,
right.
sir, what's your name? What's your, no.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes people are, they're just, you do you. If you're that kind of person, maybe don't come because, I mean, everything will rattle you.
Right.
If you're more, I mean, remember, we married a couple from LA. They couldn't care less. They flew in on Thursday. They got no.
Right.
They flew in on Tuesday. They got married on Thursday. They were flying out on Saturday. They didn't quarantine. I didn't care. I didn't ask them. Nobody
Right.
cares.
I mean, they did have their masks, and we did do social distancing,
Well, that's
but
up to us. That's between me
yeah,
and them.
right.
And I did hug her again. So that's what I'm saying.
Well, and I think what you count as an exposure is at least a 15-minute, like if you're in contact with someone for an extended period of time, I don't think a quick hug is enough to get you sick.
I'm not.
But
I'm very healthy. That's all I know I'm not going to give it to them.
right, right,
Then if they feel that they're healthy too, and nobody's lying,
right.
I'm just done. I'm not living on fear. I'm good. So,
Well, so yeah, and you're right. And so we're saying that now they've changed it to, I mean, if you're going to follow the rules,
right.
on the honor system, 3 days quarantine here, and then after the third day, if you take a test and it's negative, then you're free to roam about the cabin, so to speak, in New York City.
The funny thing is, so when we flew back with JetBlue, and it was very good. There was something that was coming out of the thing. I don't know. They have
they have really? Like a sanitizing vapor?
Yes.
Oh,
And
wow.
every seat in the middle was open.
Open.
They didn't sell any of the middle seats.
That's good.
So my logic tells me two things. First of all, I took the test on Saturday. I came here on Sunday. On Monday morning, I got the results and it said negative. Supposedly, I should take another test here. Why? Because they think maybe I got it in the plane. But why would I get it?
If they're doing that.
I mean, what's the big deal with the planes and not with the buses and the subways? So lack of logic, I'm not a fan of. It bothers me. It's very annoying to me. And people are taking the subways everywhere, and the nurses and the doctors and everybody. People at the delis, everybody. So, with that logic, you have to get tested every day, and we can't.
The resources or the time. So,
Yeah.
but we're still doing weddings, and that's the bottom line. And so I just want you to kind of just describe what Manhattan's like right now, as far as occupancy and restaurants.
It's very nice. It feels alive again. And I will say this.
How's the park?
It's always packed. I'm surprised. This is what I was going to say. Because I know we don't have any tourists. I know we don't have any Europeans here now or South Americans, right? The few tourists that we have are from America, are from Virginia, and still the place is just busy. So
it's still busy.
Wow. I'm thinking, wow, to think that, because I'm sure we're at a quarter of occupancy that we usually have normally.
Right. Well, today is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, which is usually the busiest travel day in the country. And it may still be, considering everything, but I used to go, when I was in Texas and I'd go to visit my sister in New York, I'd always fly on that day too. And so, so is the city starting to feel kind of holiday? Are they decorating?
There were Christmas. So the Christmas trees are already in the streets. They're starting selling them.
Yeah.
And
what about Rockefeller? They're putting that up.
I haven't gone there yet.
I think they're putting it up, right? Because they found a baby owl in the Christmas tree when they were putting it up that was dehydrated. They rescued it.
Oh,
yeah, it was in the news.
Putting up the tree. I didn't know.
Yeah,
So I
they
was
are.
in Florida for a week, and I'm not watching the news because it's annoying. So
All right. So the bottom line, again, we are still doing weddings. We've got several coming up starting next week,
I start
right?
now. So I have one today at 7 p.m. I have two tomorrow at 11 in Central Park, 11
Nice.
a.m. on Thanksgiving Day and 3 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day in Central Park. And then Saturday and Friday, I have another one too. Yeah, we're working every day. So if you want to get married, we'll marry you. And we speak, what, 3 languages: Spanish, English, Polish or Russian, and French.
Russian, that's right. Yes, we can accommodate anybody. So, so bottom line, give us a call, look down in the comments. You can see a link to our website. You can
Yep.
take a look at our packages. If you have any questions, absolutely, please call us. We'd love to talk to you, let you know that it is doable. And yeah, let's get married.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.